But today we've got a special guest. You know, Dan Jordan, but we call him the Deej because he's special. He's one of those, I call them salty dogs, which means he's been selling forever. He's seen it all and done it all. But I'm going to give you a little bio on him. You know, Dan hosts the Pitchman.live on Amazon and his own podcast, DJ Live. He's the author of 3 books, including the bestseller Sales Proverbs. He has coached, mentored, and helped thousands of salespeople worldwide and how to live a profitable sales life through his programs and keynote speeches. Dan himself has started, built, and sold 6 businesses ranging from a deli, brokerage firm, staffing companies, and consulting firm. He lost it all twice, but still managed to keep his wonderful wife of 25 years, and sometimes his children still like him. Hey, Dan, welcome.
Yeah. Today's not one of those days that the children like me. Because here's the thing. So my daughter, 19, she wants to stay here, and the boyfriend is here, and we're supposed to go to the lake, but I decided to stay home, and so now she's ticked off at me.
Well, you know, that's part of life, ain't it?
It's awesome.
We're going to get to know you better, but I'm going to throw some heat for you. I'm going to throw some pictures over because this shop talk is about real sales. And so we're going to pick your brain today. And the first thing
I'm ready.
I'm going to talk about motivation. When you and I were talking, you were talking about 3 aspects of motivation. I'm going to tell you what they are, turn you loose, and let you go. One is what to do, what not to do, and what you should never do.
Yes, with motivation. Well, you know what? It's the philosophy of a salesperson. People, you know, the act of practicing sales is the act of practicing personal development. And so if you're not in that zone, if you're not thinking, man, I got to get a little better every day. If you're asking, like, there's 2 questions you can ask. You know, why am I not getting new business? And you'll come up with an answer. Or how can I get more business? And then you'll come up with an answer. If you start asking the first question too often, you're going to immediately demotivate yourself because you're actively forcing yourself to figure out the reasons why things don't work. And in process, you're doing that. So what you should never do, I'll start with the last one. What you should never do is ask yourself the wrong questions. When things are going wrong, don't say, why are they going wrong? Why is this happening to me? Because I promise you the rest of the day, that's what you're going to think about. And you as a human being, you're so smart and creative. You're going to figure out all the things that don't work, and by golly, go ahead and do them. It's the most demotivating thing. What you should do is each morning when you wake up, I have a morning routine, and it's changed everything. I mean, everybody has the problems. You wake up. My dad, one day I was telling him I was having a bad day. I was 13 years old, and my dad was from like war-torn France, and so family and the Holocaust, the whole thing. And so he got to America. He never told me any stories that happened in concentration, never said anything about it. But when I was 13, I was saying, I'm having a bad day. And my dad says to me, let me tell you about a bad day. And he unloaded on me with like the craziest things you've ever heard. And I decided, and he said, Danny, it's a choice. It's a choice. You could be the light when you walk into the room, or you could be the light when you walk out of it. And so it's your job to go ahead and do that. And so protect what you allow to come into your head. And so the way to motivate yourself is to start your morning routine with something positive, something exciting, something that you could learn something new. Watch the sunrise. I read what you can read to do that. But in lieu of that, listen to tapes, listen to things that you've done. But that's not enough. That's half of it. The other thing is you have to remove all the garbage that comes into you. And so shut off the dang news. Just shut it off. I haven't listened. I don't know what the heck is going on. I mean, I'm so clueless. It's delicious. I wake up in the morning. I have like no weight on me whatsoever. It's the greatest thing ever. And the second benefit to that is it gives other people the opportunity to try to tell you all that's going on and all the bad is. And for
Yeah.
whatever reason, they feel good when they're giving you this information. And so if you say, oh, really, 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 all of a sudden they like you, there's your in for a sales call right there. Let them teach you.
I am 100%. You and I think alike because I won't watch the news. I won't entertain it, because here's the thing. If you and I go down, there's a lot of mouths that don't get fed. And so
amen. Yeah, the salespeople are the most important part of the sale, says Zig Ziglar, is the salesperson. Yeah. Talk about old school sale. That's what it is. So I part of my I have a little mantra. I lead, not follow. I believe, not doubt. I create, not destroy. I make the news. I don't watch the news. But the number 4 is I make the news. I don't watch the news.
Right. Exactly. So I'm going to throw you another pitch. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Salty dog to salty dog. You've seen them come and go. You see the splash in the pan. So why do 90% of outside sales people quit? What's the failure? What happens?
Well, their head's not in the right place, but you're a perfect example of why one could succeed. Let's there. Why would one succeed? Like Jim Rohn said a million years ago, it's simple. The definition of success is simple little disciplines practiced every day. You told me, what number is this? 200 and something?
This is 249.
249. That's what, and if you listen to a bunch of early ones, there were probably a bunch of garbage, but you just keep on doing it and you keep on doing it. The reason the people have a very limited, especially salespeople, have a very limited view of what they can do today. They don't think they can do a lot today, and just like a magnified view of what they think they can do in 10 years. But they're focusing on today. And when you're just focusing on today, man, there's too much jabbing at you. If you think about it, a salesperson, you got to deal with 90% failure on a regular basis. I won't call it failure. I'll call it rejection. Sure. It's 90% rejection on a daily basis. So the successful people have the ability to look long-term.
Right.
And the unsuccessful just don't have that. They can't get out of their own way.
So you're sitting across from some business owners that have to sell, or some salespeople, and they came to see you, the sage, and you got them in a round table, and they're asking you this question. So what's it going to take? What are the things I need to master? What do I need to get better at? What's it going to take other than mindset to be successful at growing my business or selling?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna give you, this might or may not be controversial, but there's a big movement to find your why these days, and they think that's the big motivating factor. Enough with the why. I know your why. Your why is the same as everybody else's why. Stop thinking about your dang why. Your why is that at the end of your life, you're going to go up there to heaven and God's going to welcome you. You've done well, my good and faithful servant. Very good. Come on in. You've done. That's everybody's why. You want to make a lot of money so you can provide for your family. Why do you want to provide for your family? Because that's the right thing to do. And why is that the right thing to do? So when I get up to heaven, they're going to say, hey, come on in, my good. I know your why. What people don't enforce and what people don't look forward to is their what. Right. And if you know your what, some people call those what's goals. I just call them what's. What do you want? If you just ask somebody, you're in a room, that round table that you're in, and you go to those people and say, hey, what do you guys really want? Half the people won't know what to say. And the other people are just going to say something that they think other people want to say. Know what your what is, even if it's outrageous. Know what I want to earn $1 million this year, and so I can buy this boat or whatever. Know what your what is, and then the desire and your creativity, and it'll figure out and get it. So number one thing besides your mindset is knowing what your goal is, knowing what your what is. Because once you have that, we could backtrack. I'll give you an example. I had a real estate guy I was working with. And the real estate guy wanted to earn $1 million a year in commissions. And to earn these $1 million a year in commissions in the Atlanta area, you gotta basically, we worked out, you need 3 listings a month. You just need 3 listings a month. And so our goal is not to make $1 million now. Now our goal is 3 listings a month. Okay, so that, that's our what right now. We need 3 listings a month. So how are we going to get 3 listings a month? We found out if he knocks on 50 doors a day, 7 days a week, after the first month, he's getting 3 listings a month. And then you start getting more listings a month because the other people call back, whatever. So he just does it, but he does it 7 days a week at the beginning, the first year, 7 days a week, 50 knocks a day. I'm going to go, hey, call and see if you might be interested in selling your house. Only thing might be just like that. But he doesn't earn $1 million. Now he earns $3 million a year in commissions. Know your what, and we could figure out a way to get there.
Yep. It's because our business, I'm in all types, all size companies. I'm with all kind of entrepreneurs. And I always hand them a pen. I send them to a whiteboard. I give them a marker and I go, draw up your sales process and tell me and give me what you think the skills are going to be that you need to master. And they always give me the dumb look, like when people say, what do you mean? That means they don't have a sales process and they don't know the skills they need to develop. So from a skills standpoint, because I know you're a big picture guy, let's just drill down a little bit. From the skills, what skills do they have to master?
I'll tell you that, but I do want to say one thing that's real important for people in their business on a tactical measure,
right,
is to keep track.
So
you need to know how many dials you're making. You need to know what your closing ratio is. You need to know all those things, and you need to know how many people you talk to. Because sometimes when you're cold calling, in your head you've made 50 calls, but if you look down and you're feeling terrible about myself, I've made no sales today, I don't know what's going on. Well, if you look down, well, I only spoke to 3 people.
Right, exactly.
And so it's just, you got to keep all that. So it's very important. Keeping track is one of those things that nobody does, and it's monstrous. In fact, I don't even like those dialers now because it doesn't show doesn't show any work. It just shows who you. But anyway, it's a different thing. So
hey, here's something for you salespeople out there. Some of the dialers you're using, not all of them, but some of them have a bing to it when the person picks up, and it sounds like a robocall and they hang up.
Yes.
So I know dialers are used by a lot of people, but it can appear to be a robocall because there's a sound that happens when they pick up and they don't feel like it's a real person. So keep an eye on that.
Yes. Yeah. But the sheer volume of those things a lot of times overcomes that.
Oh yeah. There's no question. Numbers kill everything.
But yes, that's right. So you're saying the skill that one needs to have.
Yeah. In other words, you got the big picture and you've done a great job of painting the vision. And then you talked about knowing concrete. What do I want? And then you talked about measure everything, have metrics for everything you do. But now it's time to roll up the sleeves. Yes. What skills, tactics do they have to master to win?
Well, there's only a few. And they're all important, but none is more, in my opinion, important as this: the ability to create instant rapport. And that is in terms of prospecting and it's even selling. The biggest mistake people make is when they're on a sales call is to forget that rapport piece again. Even if they're friends, listen, you still say hi to your friends. You still have a little small talk when you're talking to your friends. It's the same thing. You have to build that little connection with them before you do anything else. And there's such easy ways to do it. And I think it's just a couple. How about this? I was years ago, I had a deli. My first business was a deli. It was a butcher shop. I turned it into a deli. And 4 years later, my friends were coming home from college. I didn't go to college. They're coming home from college, telling me all these stories, all this wild stuff. I'm like, man, I think I missed something. So I had to do something that I always wanted to do. And so I set the store up with a manager, and I went hitchhiking around the country to find myself. Yeah. Took no money. I'm telling you, Peachy, it was freaking awesome. I took no money, just got jobs along the way. And the idea was to meet 1 million people and to just figure out how to get by. And I still use those skills today. It's total skill. Listen, when you're hitchhiking, you got a sale to make.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you don't get picked up, you're really not a hitchhiker. You're just a bum on the side of the road with his thumb hanging out. So one of the jobs I got in St. Louis was a beer vendor, as a beer vendor in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. It was dino. It was great. I was like, beer here, beer here. I'm selling beer, throwing stuff. One time I was yelling peanuts. I didn't have any, but it's just fun to scream peanuts. And so I went to this one section, and they wouldn't buy from me. They were waiting for Charlie. I go, guy, what do you? Yeah, it's Budweiser. Yeah, it's Busch Stadium. It's the same. We're waiting for Charlie. And so I had to find this guy, Charlie, a big, hulking, beautiful man. And I talked to him, and Charlie used to make $400 to $500 a game on tips. And so I said, I got to find out what's going on with Charlie. So I hook up with Big Charlie. And I told him the story. I said, they're not buying from me. And I said, what do I have to do? And he put his arm around me, and never forget his words of what he said, boy, but he said it in such a way that you want to listen. He said, boy, I smile more than you. That was it. That was it. That was his thing. And said, he told me, and then he said this, he said, smiling will make you money. And he was absolutely right. So the quickest way to build instant rapport is just a rule. Like if I smile at you, Joe, you see, you have to smile back. Yeah. That's the law. And it's impossible not to be in a good mood when you're smiling. I mean, if you're smiling and you think of something bad, you immediately stop smiling. So what happens is this is total psychology. But what happens is a person associates that good feeling of happiness with you. You've just gained instant rapport. And the sick thing about it is it works just as well on the phone.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to know why that is?
Please.
Physiologically?
Please.
My wife was an opera singer.
Oh, really?
And she was second place at the Metropolitan Opera competition.
Oh, how about this?
La!
Ask her how that is.
Anyway, you weren't. But anyway, it lifts, when you smile, it lifts the soft palate on your tongue, in your mouth, and you sound different on the phone.
Yes.
And so, when they used to say smile and dial, they thought that was a cliche, but there was science behind it.
Yes. And so, so that's step one, and it's the easiest thing. I used to play this game in New Jersey where I would smile. I'd walk down the street, I see somebody, I'd smile at them, say hi. They'd smile back. I win. I get a point. Like I was trying to build up points throughout the day. And in New Jersey, I never lost. I came down here to Georgia. And then I'm walking. The first day I'm here, I'm walking. Some gal's walking the other way. She smiles at me and says hi. I'm like, what the? I moved here. I'm like, this place is great. Why would you leave? But that's it'll change your life. So instant rapport is very important. And how to get that instant rapport is you smile, pay attention to people, comment on them. One of the easiest ways to do in a business setting is ask for someone's advice. Oh, yeah. If you just, hey, I wonder if you could get some advice for you as far as working with your company. Yes.
Hold that thought. We're going to go deeper on that in our next interview. But this is so rich and so good. What I want you to do is tell these people where they can find their books, what your website is, okay? So how to find you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm real easy to contact. You can email me at dan@danjordan.com. But what I'd love for you to do, and I'm sure you'll put a link on this somewhere. Yeah, I put together what I call the Superhuman Salesperson Handbook.
Okay.
And it's really a tactical dive. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. But really, my dad used to tell me, he would say, Danny, whenever he would give me some good advice, he would say this. He said, Danny, in this country. And then he would give me his advice. And so he would say, very important, he said, Danny, in this country, act like the person you'd like to become.
There you go.
And very soon you'll see that person in the mirror. The Superhuman Salesperson Handbook is basically how to be a personal sales leader of yourself.
Good.
and act like that. And once you have that, maybe you could write your own ticket.
And we'll put that out in a link. If you'll send that to us, we'll make sure people have it. Dan, hold off. We're going to go to interview number 2. Hey, folks, this has been great. Thanks a lot, Dan. And let's move over to the next show.